Well, up next, the 2018 Farm Bill, originally set to expire back in 2023, has once again been extended for another year. That means that ag producers will face another important decision on agriculture risk coverage, or ARC, versus price loss coverage, PLC, in 2025. With changing economic conditions, shifting price projections, and updated support levels for ARC and PLC, you'll want to make sure you give this enrollment careful consideration. Alex Makovica recently spoke with Dr. Brad Lubin to break down this decision.
We're talking about ARC and PLC elections, as you mentioned, due in April. What do producers need to know right now?
Sign up is underway. Producers have the same decision under the Agriculture Risk Coverage, or ARC program, or the Price Loss Coverage, PLC program. The same decision they've had for the last decade, frankly. But it is a different year. The safety net actually gets stronger this year, in spite of it just being a simple extension of existing programs. The safety net goes up a bit this year, and the economic condition, unfortunately, has gone down. So the importance of the safety net, the importance of this decision really matters.
Yeah, talk about the status of the economy that we're in right now and break it down as to why it is so important.
Yeah, so think about the outlook for the ag economy. We've seen prices coming down now for the last couple of years. We see input costs that are relatively sticky, and so we have really tightening margins. Under those tighter margins, the more we focus on what kind of safety net we use, what kind of risk management protection we use, well, the farm program has an important component in that safety net. Of course, crop insurance does as well, and marketing decisions and farm management decisions do too. But this might be a year where for the last 3 or 4, we thought farm programs were less important because prices were up here and the safety net's down here. Well, guess what? Prices have fallen. The safety net's pretty critical this year.
So, Brad, when producers are thinking about both of these coverage options, what information do they need to be thinking about for their operation?
Yeah. Let's first recognize where we are economically, figure out our financial position, know how much downside risk we can afford, how much we're exposed to, and what our true sort of protection levels need to be. Some combination of farm programs and crop insurance decisions will help a producer prepare for it and manage that bottom line. Think of the farm program decision here. You've got an ARC program tied to a moving average. So it's a safety net that triggers at 86% of a benchmark yield times a benchmark price. Well, if you figure that out just on the price side alone, we're very close to the money now, which means we've already come down from averages to the point that we're almost ready to trigger, even assuming average yields. Look at the PLC program. Corn as an example. In 2023, the safety net triggered for PLC at $3.70 a bushel. In 2024, it had gone up to $4.01. In 2025, it goes up to $4.26. So the safety net's actually gone up more than 10%, even as prices have come down. It's close to the money too, unfortunately. We're seeing safety nets that will provide a lot of downside risk protection. It's an important decision between the two this year.
Brad, in addition to the economic status, we're also looking at political status, and that has a role because this is part of the Farm Bill, these programs are.
Right.
Where are we at right now?
You're right. We faced the ARC and PLC program decision again this year because we had a simple 1-year extension again of the Farm Bill. We have yet to see a Farm Bill approach real discussion in Congress and the finish line. In 2023, it expired. We ended up with a late year, 1-year extension that got us through 24. In 2024, we actually started the discussion in Congress, and the House Agriculture Committee, under the leadership of Chairman Glenn Thompson, moved a bill through committee and had it voted through in a bipartisan fashion. It didn't make it to the floor, or at least it didn't get scheduled for the floor. On the Senate side, we never saw language proposed even until after the election, so nothing ultimately came to fruition. We face that same issue again. All right, a 1-year extension gets us into 2025. The longer it takes this year to get to that debate, I think the more difficult it will be.
And the longer it takes, what does that mean for producers? What are the implications when it comes down to those farms?
Yeah. In late 2024, we were debating things that were holding up the Farm Bill about how to pay for proposed improvements to the safety net, how to deal with conservation funding between the Farm Bill and some one-time money, how to deal with nutrition spending, which is always an issue, how to deal with some spending in the conservation or the Commodity Credit Corporation, the CCC. We were focusing on, if I might know, we were focusing on nickels and dimes. and we couldn't pass the Farm Bill because we couldn't find the right nickels and dimes to get it done. At the end of the year, we passed $31 billion of additional assistance in ag disaster and economic assistance for agriculture. So when it comes down to it, the money shows up, but for a proper sort of regular ordered debate on legislation, it's really difficult. If we start right away in 2025, one could imagine it sort of moving through under the existing framework and fiscal debate. The longer it takes, I think the more we fight about every dollar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned that producers have until April to enroll in this program. How do they start those conversations? What else is important to note?
Starts with a visit to the USDA Farm Service Agency office in their local area. The FSA office will help you through the enrollment procedures and give you the details. For many that have been in it for years before, it's a pretty simple process, updating records, updating acres as necessary, but ultimately making a decision about whether to change your election or not. And then importantly, recognizing even if you don't change the decision you had made in previous years, you still have to sign up for the year. So there is an enrollment decision and appointment to be made. It's a straightforward process. It's underway now. It's open until, I believe, April 15th. It gives producers time to think about it.